The financial success for any entrepreneurial business is likely to be driven by one main factor: the pricing strategy. Pricing is likely the most complex decision that an entrepreneur will make, and it is one of the most important. Today, we examine the 9 pricing rules that entrepreneurs should consider when setting prices. Number 1, entrepreneurs must understand their startup brand. Every company, even a brand new company, has a position in the marketplace, a few words that define what it stands for. Find the 3 to 5 words that best describe your company: financial services innovator, expert manufacturer of technology, low-cost provider of insurance, healthcare customer service expert, consumer goods marketing pro. However you define your company, you then have a little roadmap to pricing. Number 2, calculate your buyer's benefits. The product you create or the service you provide has some inherent benefits for the buyer. We see 3 buyer benefit profiles: a buyer who can make more money using your product, a buyer who can save money by using your product, and a buyer who gains some sort of non-monetary benefit like convenience or comfort. In the first 2 cases, you can easily calculate the benefits to the buyer: how much the average user can make or how much the average user can save. For a product that has a non-monetary benefit, the benefit is always in relation to another existing product. Yours is more convenient, more comfortable, more exclusive than something else out there. In this case, the price of the product that yours is an alternative to becomes the starting point. In nearly all cases, people will not pay more than 1.5 to 3 times the price of a product for something that is an alternative product, though there are exceptions for ultra-exclusive brands. Number 3, consider your startup's competition. Look with unemotional eyes at your product or service compared to other options, and that's critical. The closer you are to another existing product in the marketplace, the more connected your pricing will need to be competitive. If you're a cell phone maker, the prices of your competitors' set are probably $40 to $200, which is the range of prices. Now, you may be able to extend that up or down by a little bit if your product is more unique or complex, and this is especially true for information products or software. You have more flexibility in your pricing. Number 4, understand fixed costs, variable costs, and sunk costs. Every product, even every service, has fixed and variable costs that need to be understood, and many have sunk costs as well. A fixed cost refers to the costs that will exist going forward whether you actually produce or sell anything, like office space, utilities, and servers, and salaries. Variable costs are the costs of goods being manufactured that increase as the number of units rise and decrease as production drops. These costs come into play only as items are produced, so shipping and raw materials are variable costs. Now, sunk costs are costs that have already happened in the past and they can no longer be controlled or managed. Costs of patents or incorporation, costs of research or acquisition, they're all sunk costs. You can cry over them, but these dollars have been spent and they aren't coming back. Do yourself a favor. Forget about sunk costs. Number 5, find your minimum and maximum prices. There is an absolute minimum price for your product, which is a number just above your variable cost. The maximum price depends on the buyer's benefit. Here are some rules of thumb to begin with. If your product helps someone make money, the maximum price for you is 25% of the expected customer benefit. If your product helps the buyer save money, the maximum price for you is the competitor's average price less a factor of perhaps 20%. And if your product provides a non-monetary benefit, the maximum price is generally 3 times your competitor's average price for the basic version. This is your possible range of prices. Here's an example. Betty's Pie Shop makes the best pies in the neighborhood. The variable cost of the pie includes flour, eggs, fruit, spices, and aluminum pie tins. And let's say it has a variable cost of $8.50. Therefore, the absolute minimum price for Betty's cherry pie is $8.51. Now, the average price for a competitor's pie is $9.75. How should Betty price her pie? Well, the benefits to buyers are non-monetary, so the maximum price is probably 3 times the basic grocery store version, or $28.50, and the minimum price is $8.51. Since Betty has the best pie, she could start at about $25, and if sales are disappointing, she could have a special at $20, then decide whether to move the price down to $20 permanently. Here's another example. Through a series of patented processes, the battery company has developed a treatment called Battery Extender that can be applied to disposable batteries that extend the life of those batteries by 40%. It's a solution in a bottle that is wiped at both ends of a brand new household battery. And each bottle of Battery Extender has a variable cost of $3.65 to produce, package, and ship. And there's enough solution to treat 100 AA batteries. So let's do the math. The minimum price is $3.66, or just above the variable cost. Now, the maximum price is based on the customer benefit. The average cost of a AA battery is about $1. By extending the life of the battery by 40%, the benefit to the buyer is $40 for 100 AA batteries. Now, following the rule of thumb, we would take 25% of this benefit and price the bottle at $10 as the starting point. Now, the biggest challenge is when the variable cost of a product is very close to the maximum price. Let's say that, using the above example, Battery Extender only extended the life of the battery by 15%, deriving a $15 benefit for customers. 25% of that benefit is only $3.75, or just 10 cents above the minimum price. Here's a situation where the right move for the entrepreneur is not to produce, but instead to determine if there is any way to reduce the variable costs or reformulate the product. Number 6, set the price to optimize profits. This is where it all comes together. The goal of pricing for nearly every entrepreneur is to get more profits, though some believe that there is good karma in underpricing. But a buyer doesn't care about your costs. Buyers care about what the price is compared to what their perceived benefit is. So your definition of a fair price does not matter to the buyer. Therefore, in every situation, skew your price toward the maximum in your range initially. If your product can help someone make $1,000, perhaps $199 is a good starting point. If your product can help someone save money, perhaps starting at 90% of your average competitor's price is wise. If your product provides a non-monetary benefit, look toward 2 to 3 times the price of the basic model produced by a competitor. Regardless, you need to be sure that the price you select is greater than the minimum price described above. Number 7, you can reduce prices more easily than you can raise prices. Now, part of the strategy to skew toward a maximum price in your range is that if you find that you aren't selling what you want or need to sell, you can try to reduce the price through special discounts or even across-the-board price cuts. Reducing costs has some risks, primarily the risk that someone who bought your product yesterday will be unhappy that they paid more yesterday than the guy who buys it today. Raising prices has more risks, though. Primarily that consumer demand will reduce more quickly than expected. If you raise prices and then reduce them back down again, this whipsaw is not productive for your brand reputation. Raising prices is a legitimate strategy in certain circumstances, but almost always after the product or service has been in the market for a while. Number 8, consider how your price matches your startup brand. Now take a moment and think about how you've set your price. And now go back and think about how you thought about your brand. If the brand is a low-cost provider, your product and its price should fit within that brand image. If your company is innovative, your product and its price should fit within that brand image. If it doesn't, you either have a product problem or a brand problem. Either can be solved, but neither should be ignored. And number 9, your price is never final. You're going to begin with the price, and it will be based on imperfect information and assumptions about the buyer's benefit, competitor's activity, even variable costs. However, as time goes on, you will see how your price translates into sales and how sales translates into costs and competitors and how they respond or choose not to respond. In order to maximize profits, pay attention to these factors and adjust your price accordingly. For some products, such as consulting, a change in price is easy when bringing on new clients, and therefore pricing can be modified frequently to hone in on the right price. For others, such as products sold through retailers or a subscription-based product, Changes in price can be difficult to execute, and therefore price changes may need to occur infrequently, perhaps as little as annually. So let's review the 9 pricing rules. Understand your startup brand. Calculate your buyer's benefits. Consider your startup's competition. Understand your fixed, variable, and sunk costs. Find your minimum and maximum prices. Set your price to optimize profits. Reducing prices is easier than raising. Does your price match your brand? And your price is never final. Those are the 9 pricing rules for entrepreneurs. There's more information for entrepreneurs at Startup Me. Check us out at www.startupme.com.